Ooh, okay. Keep that. Keep that because I think that's gonna help me. It's gonna help you. It's gonna help them.
Okay. So nonverbal communication,
Yes.
communication that is nonverbal. But what I found interesting is that 93% of communication is nonverbal.
Ooh.
7% of communication is actually words,
Okay.
right? And then 35% is tone,
Okay.
which I think is important.
Okay.
And then 55% is body language.
Yeah. So 7%, 7% words, 38%
Oh, my percentage
tone.
was off. 38% is
It's
tone.
all about the same. It's in the 30s.
It's in there.
So 38%.
Tone, and 55% is your body language, which means that your body shows up in the conversation before your words do. And
More than your words
more
too.
than your words do, because it's often not what you say, but how you say it. And I think that's represented in the tone, which is 38%. But when you think about it, like communication is more about what you're doing non-verbally than what you're actually saying.
We still do. We still do. We still do. We still do after all this time at the altar. I alter my mind and vow to God I love you till he make his return. The rain should be the least of your concern. Under God's umbrella, I promise to provide and preserve his word and to serve your mind and spirit. Let me drive the boat. I promise I'ma steer it. The devil cannot get near it. You'll know this soon as you hear it. You need me, I need you. Even after the altar, we still do.
Welcome back to another episode of We Still Do, where we believe you can thrive after the altar. Whether you are newlyweds or decades in, We Still Do is for you.
Yes. And if you've been listening to us and you've been enjoying the content and you feel it's valuable, help us spread our message. We
Yeah.
want you to thrive. We don't just want you to exist in marriage. So go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. Send this out. We need marriages healthy. We need marriages
Yes.
healed. And so if feel it's been valuable for you, share it with somebody else who can benefit from it. So,
Absolutely. We're your hosts. My name is Geraldine.
and I am Jermaine.
Yeah, because we didn't kind of share that introduction.
We
But
didn't. And I was also going to say my name was Geraldine too. So it worked. It worked.
we're one, so kind of. Yeah? No? Maybe?
No, I will never be Geraldine.
Wow.
You're amazing.
Don't say it like it's a bad thing. Oh, thank you.
No, back away.
How are you doing?
That body language didn't communicate what you just
Mm-mm.
said.
How are you doing, honey?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good too. Today's a good day. New day, new mercies.
Today we're not sharing about nonverbal, so you can say, "Aha, you said something other than what what your body is saying. You're lying." That's
My
not what we're
mind is
doing.
telling me no, but my body. Okay, sorry.
That's actually great. That was great. But we really want to help you because it's
Mhm.
not about necessarily like trying to identify what's going on with your spouse, although that is helpful and we'll get into that. But this is really for you to understand that you really want what you say and what you do to be aligned.
Yep. How
Because
you
when
show
it's
up.
aligned, now you can
Mhm.
communicate more effectively with your spouse.
Yep.
And so that's what we're here to talk about today. And so we have this general understanding, and we're not going to make it overcomplicated. We really want to keep it simple. And so we're just going to share with you what is nonverbal communication. So, honey, what is nonverbal communication?
Nonverbal communication is communication that is not verbal.
Oh, that's
No, but
deep.
seriously though, nonverbal communication is how your body shows up in the conversation. When words are not present, what is your body saying? Um, I think it's the eyes, eye contact, rolling of the eyes, the way that you're sitting, how you're leaning into the conversation, the gestures, your face expressions, because that gets me in trouble often. I feel like my face says something that my words are not communicating often.
Mm,
You don't agree?
no.
I feel like you'll say something and my face will twist up and like before I ever utter any words.
But
But
for that's what I'm saying. For me, it's different. Like I know how to read you, not just because I'm your spouse, but because I'm a therapist.
of course, because you're a therapist, but in
Yeah.
general,
I
it
see
could be
you.
your facial
I
expressions
see
as
you,
well,
honey.
your hand movements, the way that you're listening. Let's say that you're talking to me, but I'm on my phone. Like even that is nonverbal, but it's still saying something about how I'm engaging in the conversation.
Oh, okay. Keep that. Keep that because I think that's gonna help me. It's gonna help you. It's gonna help them.
Okay. So nonverbal communication that is nonverbal. But what I found interesting is that 93% of communication is nonverbal.
Ooh.
7% of communication is actually words,
Okay.
right? And then 35% is tone,
Okay.
which I think is important.
Okay.
And then 55% is body language.
Yeah. So 7%, 7% words, 38%
Oh, my percentage
tone.
was off. 38% is
It's
tone.
all about the same. It's in the 30s.
It's in there.
So 38%.
Tone, and 55% is your body language, which means that your body shows up in the conversation before your words do. And
More than your words,
more
too.
than your words do, because it's often not what you say, but how you say it. And I think that's represented in the tone, which is 38%. But when you think about it, like, communication is more about what you're doing non-verbally than what you're actually saying.
That made me think of like I hear speakers talk about like when they go and study themselves,
Mhm.
they mute it and they look at
Watch.
body language.
Yep.
What is my body communicating, especially if 93% of what I'm saying is coming off through my tone and through my word or through my body
Mhm.
and my gestures, like my eyes, like so this is related but not, related.
Mhm.
I was talking with somebody and we were talking about like I was kind of helping them go through like how do you initiate conversation in a group,
Mhm.
because they like some anxiety about it, kind of not used to it, and so now they're in a space to where they feel they can develop friends and they're like finding like a group, and so they like it want to get to a point to initiate and invite people to group settings, like hey, like, oh, let's go do this.
Mhm.
And like we kind of role played a little bit and it was kind of cool, you know what I'm saying? And so I just gave him some feedback like you saying it and I can feel you're anxious because
Oh.
you're saying it and like you're like, hey guys, let's go out to, you know what I'm saying? And it's coming off that way. And so I told him like don't feel away because you have to work on it. Like it's actually a skill that you can develop. You're nonverbal.
Mhm.
And I was sharing with him like for me, I use my voice a lot because my facial expressions really don't help me.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of facial expressions at all.
Right. Which I love when it comes to like my type of jokes.
Your dad jokes that people don't know
But
you joking.
when I'm trying to communicate how I feel, I know I have to do more work facially to convey that. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so like it's something that like I have to work on, especially with nonverbal. And so understanding that it's a skill,
That can be learned. That's good.
it can be learned.
Mhm.
And so honestly, that's really, really what we want you to know. Your nonverbal, given that it's 93% of how you communicate, it can be learned.
Mhm.
Like you can develop, like there's literally, people that help with singing,
Yep.
like
Vocal
they help
coaches,
you with like vocal coaches,
speech coaches,
speech coaches, like
speech
they
therapy.
help you. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, and so think about that. Like 93, like to me that is insane.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
When you
saying?
think that
Like
only 7% of communication is actually words, I'm like, what? So what are we doing here?
because we think like we put so much emphasis on like the words, the
Mhm.
vernacular, like, and I think having an extensive vocabulary is dope. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like being able to use words like are I love that.
That no one understands but you. Yeah, it's really dope.
But when you think about trying to communicate to people, like we get so caught up in like saying these words, like we really don't understand like how we're saying it makes all the difference. And I
Yeah.
think when we think of how we're saying it, we get caught up in just the vocal tone.
Mm.
But you mentioned something, and we can kind of just dive in from here, and we'll just take off. You said sometimes when I'm talking to you, you're on your phone, and that communicates more than that communicates more to me than you able to tell me what I just told you
Mhm.
after we talk. Go into that because that's interesting.
I'm just saying, like, if that is nonverbal communication. So let's say that if I'm on my phone and you're talking, and it depends on the conversation. There's times where we just talking and it's not that deep, right?
Mhm.
But if we're having a conversation, it obviously shows that I'm not present, I'm distracted, you're not getting my full attention, which in return would obviously make you feel not prioritized in that moment
Mhm.
of you trying to have a conversation with me. So I
Yeah.
feel like that is even non-verbally saying like I'm not really here with you in this conversation.
Mhm. And it's also like, to me, like when I think about it, for me in those moments, it's like I literally think about like tug of war.
Fighting for my attention.
Yeah, it's literally like you're listening to me talk, you know I'm a priority, but whatever you're doing or listening to or watching on your phone, like it's really pulling at your attention just as hard.
I
And
see. That's a good picture.
it's like, bro, like just like, cause I got my man a few words, like just give me like 3 minutes, bro. Like, and I'm done. And you can go back to doing whatever you was doing. So it's like in those moments, like that communicates more because I know often, like you said, like, what? I'm listening. And then
Mhm.
you can go back from A to Z, tell me what you've told me, but it also still made me feel like, bro, like you weren't really listening to me.
Even though I could repeat it back to you?
Even though you could repeat it back to me, because
What?
listening to me,
I'm a great multitasker.
communication is not just a matter of like receiving the information or giving the information. It's also about understanding.
Mm,
And so if you're on your phone and I'm talking to you, like what's the understanding on my part? Like what do I understand about this situation? To me, it tells me that there's something that needs to pull your attention right now, or like something that's so entertaining, or in a lot of cases it can be like, "Ah, I really don't want to hear you, but I'm gonna do this, but I also hear you." You know what
mm,
I'm saying? Like, and I can see a lot of couples in, getting tripped up by that because we're so like, we get so many dopamine hits from our phone. Like we get so much of this rush of pleasure because in essence it's entertainment. Even if you're going on there for educational things, and obviously we're specifically talking about social media,
right.
but whenever there is something else that's pulling for your attention, like it's fulfilling something within you, especially if you can't put it aside to talk with your spouse.
Yeah.
And so even with saying that, like,
Phones are a big issue in marriages too. I can't tell you how many times you hear like they're on their phone too much or they're on their phone too much. We just did an episode where we shared about, the situation with us. Go back and watch it if you haven't. But it's like, okay, I could see that. And what about the couples that are at, okay, I'm going to tell you this because I thought it was interesting. They're talking about a different perspective of couples who at dinner and they on their phone, but they're not talking to each other. They were like, what if that couple has been married for 40 years and they don't even have to speak anymore? They just know each other's thoughts and what they're thinking.
mhm,
And okay, yeah, I could see that, I guess. But in my mind, y'all not even thinking or
I would still call
engaging.
cap.
I would call cap because y'all not even engaging to even know what the thought is. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm,
Like you could be connected in such a way after a long time, but I feel like there's always a need for communication. Like we don't get to a point where I'm assuming I know everything that you thinking and you assuming that you know everything that I'm going to respond to what you're thinking, to where we don't need to actually verbally or with our body language or with our tone express
mhm,
that. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But that's something that is often called out about like couples at dinner and they're looking at their phones and like I don't want to be that couple. But just because we were talking about phones and how they can actually be a distraction, we have the no phone zones
mhm,
in our home when it comes to certain things. But
yeah.
yes, nonverbal communication.
And I think nonverbal is also important, especially when you think about times of stress, because usually when you get in those high stressful conversations or really hard confrontational arguments,
Hmm.
a lot of who you are shows up. So like for example, in an attachment history, like there is this um attachment theory, I guess it was. There's this idea of like secure and insecure attachment styles. So in insecure attachment styles, two of them that a lot of people have is pursuer or withdrawer.
Hmm.
So when there is this anxiety that or this sense of like disconnection or stress that's coming up between us, like my body's natural way of responding when I feel a sense of disconnection is I'm either going to pull away because it helps me feel safe, or I'm going to push towards you
Lean in,
because
yeah.
connection makes me feel safe. And so in those moments, um, this FBI agent, uh, he's well known for his work on body language, and one of the things he said is like, um, our bodies leak truth when under stress
Mm.
through our posture, facial tension, and gestures. And so, in moments of stress, like the way we communicate is pretty much operating in a way that is kind of like um, bypassing like how we want to show up. You know what I'm saying? So if we're arguing, like if I feel like this is too much, I'm gonna pull away.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or if we're arguing and I don't feel seen by you, I'm gonna get louder and raise my voice. You know what I'm saying? So like it's these ways that we interact. And so in those moments, what is our body saying about us?
Mm.
What is our body communicating? Because we hear it all the time. And I know you, I do this to you. You'll ask me what's wrong. And I'll be like, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
But even the way I say it, which I'm telling
Your
on myself
tone.
now,
Yep.
even the way I say it and the way I present myself says
Something wrong.
I'm not okay.
Yeah.
But in reality, what I don't communicate is something is wrong, but I just need a moment to myself to figure it out, or to even kind of let it subside a little bit so I can talk about it. And so then the question is like, why is that my response? Why do I say I'm okay when I'm not really okay?
Mm.
And it's because like when I have shared with you before, early on, I think it was when we were like friends or something, when I did share with you about like um how I was feeling, like it almost caused this anxiety within you, like, oh, he's not okay, like I need to fix it. And it's like,
Uh,
what's the
Savior
matter?
complex.
You know what I'm
Forgive
saying?
me.
Like, and it's like, oh no, I don't want you to feel like that, because it's not a matter of what you did. I just have to work through some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't want that to come off. And so I through that I learned my response is like, I'm okay. And so it's important to understand that, because it does communicate something that um like you want to communicate something that makes you congruent with how you feel, and you want to convey it accurately to your partner.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we do want to go into is, before we talk about the communication styles, we want you to know that who you are when you were brought up impacts how you try to get your needs met. And so it's important to know that, because if you are trying to get something from your partner, like if you're trying to get them to understand you, if you're trying to get them to do something for you, the way you communicate the need is important. And so we just want to let you want to start off with saying that. And so the first one we want to go into is, there's four. There's passive, passive aggressive, assertive, and just flat out aggressive. Um we want you to know, like, don't think that you're a bad person if you fall in one of the three that aren't assertive.
Yeah.
You're not a bad person. But what we believe is that you learn to communicate your needs in a way that has helped you over the years. And you might notice that now in your relationship, it might not be working. And so we want to just go into why that might be. And so, honey, I'll kind of pass it off to you.
Okay.
Just starting us off, tell us a little bit about assertive.
Assertive. So assertive is someone who can clearly express how they're feeling. They can clearly communicate, and they have the mindset of my needs matter, but so do yours.
Mm,
And so it's not from a selfish standpoint. Um, yeah, I think that's someone that's assertive.
okay. Assertive, good or bad?
It's good.
I don't know, rhetorical question.
I'm like, what? Assertive is good.
Yes, assertive
You can
is
clearly express how you feeling. You don't shy away from conflict, even the
Mhm.
hard conversations, and you're considerate of both sides of the party in a conversation. That's a
Yeah.
win.
No, that's good. Because when we talk about assertive, like I think of putting up like a fence. You know, like
Mhm.
back in the day, we used to put like we used to have a stick or maybe a piece of chalk or something. We used to draw like a
Oh
line in the
yeah,
sand,
yeah, yeah.
or we used to put like a mark on the
Don't cross
ground.
this. Mm-hmm.
And in relationships, it's similar.
Mm.
There is a boundary that is in the line, and assertiveness says, I see the boundary.
Mm-hmm.
I see how you want me to talk to you. I see how um, my needs aren't getting met. And I want the way that I communicate to you about those needs to be clear. And so I'm not going to shy away from telling you what those needs are, but I also want to allow you the space to hear what I have to say and also make adjustments. And so we'll kind of circle back to um assertive later, but also like the I think the one that I have adjusted from
Recovering
recovering
communication style.
recovering communication style is passive.
Yeah.
And what passive communicators do is they really consider the other person's needs
Mm-hmm.
and don't really consider theirs.
People pleasers.
Yeah. So in that, there is your needs matter, mine don't.
Mm.
Like, of course, nobody's going to say it like that. But when you think about it, a lot of times people who communicate passively, they just throw up their hands like it don't really matter.
Yeah.
You know, you might have couples, honey, where you want to eat? It don't really matter, wherever you want to go.
Mm.
Like I'm cool, whatever. And then underneath that, like they might feel like they want something else. And it's a very small, minute situation, but they always overlook their needs for the other person. And that is, I think, the heart posture is good because you're like, I want to make sure you're
Oh,
okay.
you trying to justify it because you recovering from it?
Not at all.
Oh,
Not
okay.
at
Go
all.
ahead.
But when you think about it, like at the core, like they want to make sure that you're taken care of. And sometimes in the need of mind going absent, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like at the heart. Now we're talking about at the core. But it's problematic when like we need to speak up
Mm-hmm.
and we don't. That's when it's a problem.
So, what hindered you? Because you personally have experienced this
Mhm.
in being a passive communicator. What hindered you from speaking up?
It's a good question. Fair question. Solid question. Um, I think just part of who I am, like I'm a non-confrontational type of person,
Mhm.
at my core. But what I learned growing up is because I'm non-confrontational, speaking up in the environment I grew up in meant that you were being confrontational.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Or you weren't allowed to speak up to adults. And so it was better to not speak up.
Meaning, like, stay in a child's place, or like
Yes.
your opinion doesn't matter. You don't
Stay
pay no bills. Your
they both the
opinion.
same thing.
You ain't got no opinion in this house.
They both the same thing.
Dang. Okay.
And so when that happened, it was usually in times where there was like emotional escalation.
Mm.
So because, for example, let's just say if I got smart mouth with my mom at 13, because I'm in a space now where I'm a little bit taller than my mom, like I'm a male,
Mm.
like she would tell me like, okay, wait till your daddy get home. And at that point, it was no way that like standing up for myself or speaking up about needs even if I felt something was like unjust, like it would just come at a cost.
Yeah.
And so because I'm non-confrontational, it's like speaking up, like is it was energy draining for me.
Mm.
And so
So you
obviously,
just avoided it then.
yeah, I avoided it because I don't want to fight.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I remember when I was in high school, like I'm trying to keep my homeboy from fighting. This is the date of a game,
Mm-hmm.
by the way. Like after school, but before the game, we got, a little time to get situated, all that. Like literally he's walking around looking for this guy to fight. And I'm just like, bro, like we don't need to be on this, bro. We got a game. But at the same time, you my boy, and I'm gonna just be here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I chose to just be there for my boy rather than telling him or speaking up saying like this is a bad idea.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, so walking around, we get in a fight, and it's like, for what? You know what I'm saying? Now, like in the game, like my nervous system is all in shock because you got 100 people following around this person who want to fight because he's well known on campus,
Mm.
and then you got the starting quarterback. So of course people want to be there for that, and it was just a mess. And so not speaking up in those moments, it made life difficult. And I didn't do it because I didn't want confrontation, but I still got confrontation because I went into a
Because
fight.
you didn't do it.
You know what I'm saying? So sometimes
That's a
like
good point, though. You didn't want confrontation, so you didn't speak up. But because you didn't speak up, there was still confrontation.
yes,
So the very thing you were avoiding still happened.
exactly.
And I feel that when it comes to being passive, one thing that comes to mind, the scripture that comes to mind is the commandment, right? Like we are to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. Do you feel like it was like a lack of self esteem or like confidence, or does any of that play into you being able to respond in terms of being passive? And the reason why I asked that is because the thought process is your needs matter, but mine don't. So is it a lack of like self love to see others like, you know what I mean?
Uh, just thinking of that moment, it's hard to.
Not that moment, just in general, overall.
I know, but starting in that moment, trying to trace it back, like in that moment, the need, the need to make sure he didn't get jumped was more important than me looking like a coward or a punk.
Okay.
So because I didn't want to look like that, like in that got me in a lot of situations. Like like don't write a check with your mouth that you can't cash.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it was kind of like that. So when I think about like when I think about what was underneath it, I don't necessarily think it was I don't necessarily think it was a lack of confidence. I think it probably centered around more fear,
Oh, okay.
like a fear of how I would be perceived.
Mm.
Like if I spoke up against like somebody who is wanting to like make somebody else respect their name.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know, like I think it had more to do with like how I would be perceived as like a coward if, you know what I'm saying, like in situations like that. But I would say like in moments where, for example, in our marriage where I feel more hesitation to bring something up, it still centers around the same thing, but um the root fear is different, if that makes sense.
Mm.
So it's not a matter of feeling like I'm gonna be perceived as a coward. It's more of like what my nervous system feels is like this is a threat to your connection because if you share this with her the way that you feel or think it initially, like this is probably gonna push her away.
Oh, wow.
And so that's more of the hesitation because think about it, like my family history, especially on my dad's side, but also on my mom's side, like we're hotheads.
Mm.
And I really wonder how do I get that? Like it's no to me, it's no other way outside of passed down through the lineage. And so for me, I know how intense my anger is. And so when I want to share something or say something about something that made me feel a type of way, like in those moments where I want to share it, there's so much that comes up with that. And so it's like, ooh, I I don't know. I don't
So
know if
you're
I
actually
could.
choosing like the high road in moments like that. You know what I mean? If you know that what you're sharing is going to come up out of anger or something like that, and then being passive to avoid conflict, that's different because that can potentially, I mean, if you add fuel to a fire, you know what I mean? Like that,
Yeah. But
that can be an explosion.
it could be, but I'm also in a different space now.
Yeah.
Back when it wasn't as, because I'm more assertive now. Like I know how to share what I want to share, and I know how to share it in a clear way.
Mm-hmm.
But back when, like, I wouldn't joke with nobody because I couldn't tell jokes, and so don't laugh, because I'm funny and I'm funny now.
Okay.
Um,
Who's going to tell him? Just kidding. I love you, honey.
no,
You're hilarious.
stop being passive aggressive.
I know,
Just
perfect
kidding,
example.
just kidding. But
Sarcasm.
but because I couldn't tell jokes, I would always go to the thing that's gonna hurt, because you telling jokes and I can't tell jokes and you got everybody laughing at me, that hurts.
So you would kill him with truth.
Not necessarily true, but the one thing that I know would hurt him.
Ooh.
Like something about your mama, but it was something that I knew about your mom.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's what I said. Truth.
You know what I'm saying? So it was
Yeah.
it was a little in there, like it might have been a little exaggerated, but then it was some direct attack, like calling somebody out their name.
Mm.
Like I knew that would get them to the place of feeling how I felt. So
Embarrassed.
so that was the root of my, like, when my anger came out,
Mm-hmm.
that's what that was. So
So on the topic of passive, because that's the communication style that we're on, one thing that I hear from a lot of women who have passive men, they now have to carry the weight and they feel burdened and like weighed down because a lot of times a passive man don't step up into their leadership role to lead the home. And so the wife has to carry that. Or if they're like, oh,
Yeah.
what do you think about this? Even in decision making, they can be passive and just let it be all on you to decide. And I can see that as something that can be weighty because as a couple, we're supposed to shoulder it together. And it's like, no, you just leaving it all up to me because you don't want to have an opinion or you don't want to be direct or assertive or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's actually a hindrance in communicate. As far as a communication style, being passive can totally be something that hinders your marriage. Because I can see that leading to bitterness and resentment. And then it depends on the communication style of your wife, to what that can look like. But I was
Yeah.
just thinking about that. Like when there's a passive man that's just like, oh, yeah, whatever you say, whatever you want, or whatever,
Yeah.
then the weight off falls on the wife.
It does. And I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and he was sharing how, like, in his relationship, he's more passive. Like he's more like, like it's whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember him sharing with me, like, the problem that leads to him the problem that leads to him in his marriage is when she feels like super, like, overwhelmed, stressed, whatever. Like it's almost as if because he's passive, he's not able to relieve some of that pressure. So like she feels the responsibility, but because he's not stepping up, basically, like what she said, like to help lead, to take the initiative, like it's not taking any pressure off of her shoulders. So
Wow.
it's like, yeah, I feel the pressure, but even when I bring this to you, you don't even help take it off because you don't know what to say and you kind of go into freeze mode.
Wow.
And so it's like people pleasing or someone who might be passive pulls back from being able to relieve some of that pressure. And so it can hinder the relationship. Being passive can hinder the relationship because what you think you're doing of not wanting to cause conflict, in fact, causes conflict.
Yep.
Because
It's
there's
literally what you were saying earlier. Yeah.
because you have a need and you're not expressing that need, and you almost suppress your need, and so that really builds this internal conflict. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when it comes to passive behavior, people need to know that even though you try to avoid conflict and you don't want to cause trouble in your relationship, it causes trouble in your relationship
Because you're avoiding it.
because you're avoiding it. And so I just think it's really important when in relationship to be aware of not just what we say, but also be aware of like how we're presenting what we say,
Yeah.
like how we're using our tone and how we're using our body. Because at the end of the day, all of it, especially when, like, statistically, when emotion is ambiguous, like when there's more than one interpretation of it, we usually interpret body language than we do words. And so if that's the case, we need to be more intentional with how we communicate our body language than our words. You know. So anyways, that was for Freeskies. So
Got our marriage in motion?
as always, we got a marriage in motion. Honey, thank you for letting me take over this session and kind of just nerd out a little bit.
Go for it, honey.
I know you usually like to be more involved in all the things, but this is just my jam. So thank you. But our marriage in motion. So this is what we want you to do. Because body language is so important, we got 3 steps for you. The first step is we want you to be self-aware. What does my body do when I feel disconnected or I feel unsafe? What and how do I show I'm listening without words? So just do a self-awareness to be aware of that. Step 2 is attunement. This is where you're going to tune into your spouse, and I want you to ask them, do I make you feel emotionally safe with my tone, face, or posture? When you look at me, how does that make you feel? And then the second part of that is, what could I do better non-verbally to show you love even in tough moments? The third step is, now you're going to practice. What we want you to do is take 2 to 3 minutes daily, sit together face to face, speak without distractions. No distractions. 2 to 3 minutes seems so small, but in those moments it can feel so long. Me and Lena did like an eye-to-eye thing. Use open posture, soft tone, and eye contact. And this is what we want you to do for the Marriage in Motion Challenge today. And so I'll let you close, honey.
Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hit the notification button so you don't miss a weekly episode that we upload for you on Thursdays. Send to someone. Share this message with someone you know who can use it, and understanding the different ways in which we communicate and how 93% of that is not even verbiage or words.
Yeah.
Make sure you share it with a couple that could benefit from this episode and help us spread the message that you could actually thrive and not just survive in your marriage. We are so grateful that you decided to tune in with us today. And as always, a thriving marriage is for you.
Peace.
Gonna love you and always. No doubt you're my blessing. Ain't no second guessing. No one can separate. We find a good thing, even after the altar.